Did you ever see that Patton movie? Remember George C. Scott playing the legendary general? A famous line in there where he said, Americans love to fight. Let me add something to that. One thing, if the cause is just and right, two massive wins for these causes, both in women's sports and fairness in media, or at least making the media pay for deceptive editing, especially when it comes to being in the bag for certain political candidates. But really, it's what I'm trying to get to is it's not about politics. I don't care how you voted. I don't care how you feel about Trump, Kamala Harris, individual politics. But if you're okay with media networks being in the bag for certain candidates, there's a massive problem here. But here's the good news. There was a massive win on this front yesterday, as well as for women's sports. Again, try your best to take politics out of the issue. If you think it's okay for men to compete against women and think that's fair, I think you might want to reevaluate things. But it's okay. The trickle-down effect may reevaluate it for you. These are two massive things that happened just yesterday. But it's all about the trickle-down effect. What happens now? And what does it mean? Forget about the big issues. What does it mean for you, me, and normal people? What are you going to do with this information now? And what does the landscape look like after this? It's a massive change. It's huge. We'll get to that as well as some fun stuff. Science tells us, all right, it's social science, so it's not real science, but they tell us that today is the day where most people are putting together all their prep stuff. Not only plans, but supplies for the July 4th holiday and the big party, which is coming up on Friday, and then probably into the weekend. Well, they also say they've determined what America says are must-haves for your July 4th party. All right, we'll see. One thing for sure, it's going to be busy at Publix and Shaw's, Wegmans, Kroger's, wherever you shop throughout the country. We'll get to that too. Thanks for finding me in the Wicked Radio live stream. Appreciate you. All part of Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams. Find that all over the social media platforms and the audio podcast. We'll post that even on the road, once again, from the Granite State. Live free or die, New Hampshire. I was going to show you, by the way, the lake here behind me, but this Wi-Fi in this little conference room is too good to pass up, so I'm still in here. I'll post some pictures a little bit later on social media. Thanks for the follows, too. If you're listening on the podcast, make sure you download, or you watch it later on the live stream on X. Make sure you follow. Thank you so much for that. A lot more of that recently. I appreciate it very much. And put notifications on so you know when we're going live. All right, let's get to it. Big, massive news yesterday in a couple of different fronts. First of all, for women's sports. This is why the fight matters when it's just. And it's amazing because you can't find something that's more political these days than women's sports and standing up for it and fighting against, biological men competing against women. But it's turned into, after yesterday's announcement, something more than that. This is so much more cultural because of the decision. Well, let's get to the decision. First of all, this was the first announcement, and then it just exploded everywhere. With everybody's take on it, people directly affected, colleges themselves. This was Education Secretary Linda McMahon's announcement on it just yesterday.
The university will be sending a personal apology to every female athlete who was forced to compete against a man.
All right, I didn't expect the personal apology, but here we go. Okay, here's what she's saying. This all revolves around the University of Pennsylvania, UPenn, because this was the center of the storm. This was the center of the controversy, where Leah Thomas, Bill, came into the world as Bill Thomas, and that's his choice. That's fine. However you want to identify it, that's fine. It crosses a line, and they've done survey after survey how real Americans feel about this. And when you've got someone with a biological, physical advantage over women, nobody, hardly anybody, thinks that's right or fair, unless you're pushing an agenda. So these female athletes pushed for this. They pushed for fairness. And now look what you have. So let's go to University of Pennsylvania. It's long. I won't give you all the details, but I want to get it right. UPenn agreed to apologize, you heard just there, to all of the Division I swimmers forced to compete against Leah, Bill, Thomas, committed to stripping Thomas of the titles and records obtained while competing as a woman. UPenn will restore to female athletes all individual UPenn Division I swimming records. That's massive. UPenn is also going to issue a public statement to the university community stating it'll comply with Title IX. Why should this even be shocking? Of course they should. This was the most amazing thing to me throughout the whole process, throughout the whole ordeal. Female athletes and their reps fought so long, decades, to get Title IX, funding, fairness, competition. They fought for that. So many of them disappeared when this transgender issue came up. They just went away. Where were they? Well, they're back, that's for sure. Also, UPenn is going to issue a public statement about this announcement and the apologies and the records and their policy, very visible in their wording on their university website. That's big too. Don't forget about that, because that means prospective students coming in and athletes coming in, and other universities are going to see this and they say, well, that's Penn. It's the University of Pennsylvania. It's an Ivy League school making this decision. So it's about this trickle-down effect. I mean, this is massive. And again, credit goes to these athletes who fought for this, who put through. We all know Riley Gaines, right? She's probably been the face of this as a Division I swimmer who fought against this, and then she kind of picked up the pace, and other people followed her. First toe in the water, so to speak, pun intended, and then others came. It's the same with these universities. But what about the trickle-down effect beyond the universities? What about high schools? What about lower-level competition? All female athletes everywhere who had to deal with this. What happens now that this precedent has been set? Well, this is interesting. A Penn swimmer, her name is Paula Scanlon. Maybe you didn't hear from her. Of course, she was all over the media yesterday talking about this major decision. She said something fascinating about this trickle-down effect. Now it's okay for these lower-level athletic programs everywhere. High school, middle school, even elementary school, community competition events. Now that they've got this major precedent set, it's a huge win for fairness in women's sports, is what she said.
I want to see the downstream effect. I want to see the high schools. I want to see the middle schools say, we can't do this. We're going to be in trouble if we allow this to happen. And I'm so grateful again for the Trump administration for taking this stance.
She said it right there. She wants to see the trickle-down effect, which means they're going to continue that fight to make sure that this fairness is out there everywhere. And again, I'll say it a million times. Forget about who's responsible for this. Okay, does this decision happen now if the election didn't go the way it did in late 24? Maybe. Maybe not. Probably not. Probably wouldn't have. But it definitely doesn't happen if these female athletes like her, Riley Gaines, and others, better-known people, didn't put up this fight. And here's the great thing. They're not going to stop fighting for fairness in women's sports all around. And it's disappointing. I mean, there's some major personalities, I guess some major pioneers that fought for women's sports and the Title IX thing, which was a big deal. They fought for, like I said, decades to get that done. A lot of them disappeared, but a lot of them didn't. And new heroes came on the stage, like her, Paula Scanlon, Riley Gaines, a bunch of others. Martina Navratilova finally came out and she supported women's rights in this. A lot of others went away. So this fight was worth fighting according to them, and they did it. That's as we're about to celebrate America's birthday, you can't get anything more American than that. Fighting for fairness and equity. It was fantastic. Here's another big win. Now, I get it. It's a big win for Trump personally. I understand that. But again, it's hard to do these days because everything seems to be revolved around politics and everybody's at this heightened sense of awareness. But think about this trickle-down effect again for the decision. Another massive win for everybody, for fairness, against 60 Minutes and CBS directly. It all goes back to that decision of the CBS producers to selectively edit a Kamala Harris interview late in the election. You might remember this. It was a 60 Minutes interview, and she went on babbling on forever on the original transcript, in the original tape. But we only heard that part of it when Trump, I guess through the campaign, decided to sue 60 Minutes itself. And we only got this because they decided to sue and, again, fight back. And we found out what the original audio sounded like. And then we understood what America heard. First of all, here's the babbling part that you only heard through discovery, through this lawsuit before they settled. Here, you remember this part of it.
It's resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy.
Yeah, well, you get the gist. Word salad. Huh? That's what she originally said. But the version that aired for America that was all cleaned up and made her look like a shining star, well, it sounded like this. Just a little refresher if you didn't remember.
We are not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Sounds great. Sounds presidential, right? Here's the problem. They selectively edited that to make her sound that way. So, how did we get to this point? Always remember, the lawsuit only happened because CBS, through 60 Minutes, CBS News refused to release an unedited transcript. All they wanted was an unedited transcript, the typed out text version of exactly what Kamala actually said. They flat out refused. Now, the question you and me and everybody should ask is why? Why would they refuse? And all the reasons. They gave us all the reasons. Well, we're a legitimate news organization and we're not in the habit of doing that. Oh, was that it? Or is it because you caught red-handed making your selected presidential candidate look a lot better and a lot smarter than she actually was? Yeah, that was the reason. So because they refused to release that, Trump campaign sues them for $30 million. And now because of this decision, they settled. Trump gets $15 million up front. Paramount and CBS agreed to pay Trump $30 million. It's an election interference lawsuit. He gets $15 million for legal fees, case costs, and his choice of a presidential library or charity where it'll go to. I get that he's a big charity guy. He does. He has some select charities to give to. But I have a feeling, just knowing what that guy's all about, we all get a sense for this now. I think the $15 million, I think it's going to go to the Trump Presidential Library. Maybe he'll have a whole section of just this on the CBS lawsuit. I don't know. And I will tell you, as silly as it is to say, I think it would be worth it. I know that I'm closer to this because one of the main target, if you listen to me for any amount of time, of my ire, it is the fake, deceptive news and how things are turning around now and how much damage they've actually done. So I love this. And it's my opinion that this is a massive decision. This is a huge win, not just for him personally. This is a win for everybody, even if you didn't vote for that guy, even if you never voted before. Because if whoever controls this information flow controls everything. We always talk about it all the time. Legacy media like them, CBS, NBC, ABC, Washington Post, New York Times, they're all paying a price now. Not maybe monetarily like CBS is about to pay, but they're all paying a price and that we're all becoming aware of it now. This is a huge thing. It's kind of like with the big win for women's sports, the trickle-down effect, how everybody else will not dare to push that again, push that unfairness. The media companies know too, because if anything affects them, and this is why I'm so glad he sued them, if anything affects them and gets them to toe the line and actually do their job, become a free press and just give people real information, not edited, not selectively edited so they can push one particular candidate to the front and attack another one with fake news and flat out lies, the other media outlets pay attention to. So that's another massive win. Again, not just for him. Sure, monetarily. It's a win for us. It's a win for transparency. Not so much a win for legacy media. It may be too late. But it's a win for everybody else. This new digital media age. To be transparent about it, to get the real information out there. And it's still going to take a long time, but that's another huge first step in the water. So, again, worthy cause, you think? Trying to get to a free press? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah, that fight was worth it. Even if you didn't vote for the guy. I'll hold to that. All right, let's get to some fun stuff. We are in the red zone. And like I said, science tells us today is the day where most people put together their 4th of July party prep. It's not real science, it's social science. But still, this is what they're saying. And they say that they've determined that America has 4 basic absolute must-haves for your July 4th party. All right. What would those be? This is from something called Talkers. I think it's a talk radio industry magazine. But it's all right there, and the survey's there, and they interviewed and they surveyed 2,000 people. So it's a pretty good sample size of Americans. Good cross-section of American, what they want, what they insist you have to have for your 4th of July party, anywhere. Number 1, you know what it is. Classic barbecue foods. Now, tomorrow we can debate this all we want, because tomorrow we get into the food. Everybody has their favorite 4th of July barbecue or cookout food, right? But you got to have the classics. I'm going to assume without getting that official list, we're talking about burgers, dogs, side items like coleslaw, macaroni salad, potato salad. You know what I'm talking about. Classic barbecue foods, number one, according to America, we're going to have for your 4th of July party. Number two, fireworks. It's so funny how they always try to say that, and there's a lot of groups that actually try to ban fireworks. I know it's not good for dogs. I understand all that, and a lot of kids are afraid of it too. But time after time, on all of these surveys they do right before this holiday or New Year's, people always come out and they say, I got to have fireworks at some point. If not at a private party, and be careful with those, some public event in most states, even states where they're illegal. There's usually some kind of fireworks you can find, or at least hear them on in the background. Or watch them on TV if you have to. Number three necessity, America says, for an absolute must 4th of July get-together, great music. Great music on the playlist, absolutely. And this is an incredibly important thing. It doesn't matter how you do it, Spotify playlist, Sirius XM, I guess traditional radio, but you're going to have to listen to the commercials. But you got to have a great playlist throughout your entire party, and it gets overlooked all the time. And number four, the one that's most overlooked and absolute must-have, America says you have to have for your 4th of July gathering, outdoor games. Could be anything. Frisbee, cornhole. Cornhole is great. You know why cornhole is great for a 4th of July party? Anybody can do it, although some people are great at it, and it doesn't take up a lot of space, and it's easy to do. Frisbee, football, wiffle ball, whatever it is, outdoor games. Wouldn't recommend lawn darts. You don't want anybody stabbed in the head at your 4th of July party, but you got to have outdoor games too. The four necessities: classic barbecue foods, fireworks, great music, and outdoor games. Now, tomorrow, we're going to get into the foods, and this is always controversial. The foods specifically that people insist on having at a 4th of July party. So we'll get to it. Most important thing is we're getting closer and closer to America's birthday. 249, baby. Next year is going to be massive. Can you imagine the party that's going to happen at National Parks next year? What is it, the semi-quincentennial for 250? I don't know. It's going to be massive. All right. Let you get into your 4th of July party planning. It's going to be busy at the grocery stores today. Yeah, it's going to be busy wherever you like to shop. But in the meantime, thanks for finding me. If you're watching later on the X live stream, a lot more eyeballs on that these days. Do me a favor and press follow, and then put your notifications on for when we're going live. Audio podcast posted about 10 minutes after we get out of here. And again, thanks for the downloads on that, as always. All right, getting closer and closer. And closer to the end of the week and 4th of July. Making a wicked awesome Thursday. We'll talk to you later.